Howdy do, exiles. What an announcement, right? Really really insane. I think this is hands down the best reveal for an ARPG I've ever seen, and honestly one of the best reveals I've seen from a gaming developer in a while, honestly. So this video is going to be, you know, a bunch of things about how this game is really going to be great for brand new players. Much like how Diablo's barrier of entry is super low, one of the biggest problems with POE is the fact that it's just really daunting to get into. There's so many layers of complexity, so many layers of content, so many layers of systems and mechanics, and to learn all that as a new player is just like, some people just don't have the time. And that's kind of what POE 2 is aiming to kind of address. And so we're going to go through some things in this video that are just going to be great for new players and for veterans alike, like myself and others. So strap in, let's get into it. Number one for me has to be the lowering of the barrier of entry of how to use your skills. And it's just so much more just simplified now. You find a support, you cut it, you put it into the skill gem, and that's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. There's no more jewelers to try and get the amount of sockets you need. There's no more chromatics to try and get the colors that you need for the support and the skill gem colors. And there's no more fusings. And two of those we're not dropping until later in the campaign in POE 1. Anyways, this is going to drastically lower the barrier of entry and specifically the knowledge needed to be able to progress with a character. If, you know, brand new POE player just hopping on, they're going to understand how to do this, and it's going to be so much easier. So another thing that brand new players are going to look forward to is they're not going to have to start out their journey, you know, on a dated game engine. A lot of the some of the, in my opinion, some of the larger issues in POE 1 have to deal with just the graphics in general. While they're not terrible, it's more about how smooth the game runs. And once you get to a certain level of farm in POE, and there's just an immense amount of things going on, from your skills to their animations to the amount of the amount of monsters on the screen and what's happening and all the effects, and it can really be hard on a PC. And it's not even the fact that it's hard on the PC, it's just the code of the game. Now, this isn't like a major issue, but it is an issue, and this is all hopefully is going to be solved with POE 2 and its new engine and its new look, and hopefully things will run a lot smoother when there is a million things going on. With the increased in drop rates to Regal Orbs, which upgrade magic to a rare, and specifically Exalted Orbs, these truly really did not stop dropping until maps, and even in maps they were quite rare. And the difference between early crafting knowledge and late really helps to lower the barrier of entry for players who find a piece of gear that's good, and then they can just toy around with it while they're in the campaign. This is huge, right? Transmutations, augmentations, regals, and exalteds having a much higher drop rate earlier in the game really gets the newer player comfortable with the mods, and then they don't feel like they can't really tinker with it and learn it and understand it, because those currencies were in POE 1, they were very rare. And now that they're more common, this makes the whole process of gearing, learning how to gear, making mistakes and learning from those mistakes much less daunting. And this is a humongous step forward for new players looking to get into POE. Another big thing for brand new players, even though it was in the at least in the current POE 1 league, is the currency exchange market. This is the best thing to ever come to POE, period. That's it. Full stop. It's the best thing ever. Traditionally, you would have to go to the trade website, do all your currency trading there, and it's hyper inefficient, very annoying. Half the time, people don't respond. There's bots. It really is kind of a hot mess. But this is what we've had to. This is more or less what we've had to deal with for such a long time. And now you can just go to the currency exchange, and as long as you have gold, you can get any currency in the game. You can get fragments. Everything. It's chef's kiss. It's so it's so good. And this is what new players, y'all won't have to deal with the antiquated systems of PoE yesteryears, right? We're modern gamers now. This is PoE 2. It's the ARPG of the future. You're gonna love this. This one in particular, I think is very important, and I think brand new players will appreciate. PoE 2 it's not going to be like Diablo 4. It's not going to be like Last Epoch, where there just isn't an end game. I mean, there is, but it doesn't seem thoughtful. It doesn't seem fully fleshed out. And quite frankly, there's not really a lot to do. There is, but it's kind of hard to explain. There's a lot of food, but there's no substance, right? Whereas with PoE 2, you have an infinite Endgame. You have a large atlas with lots of points of interest. You have Ritual, Delirium. You have the 2 in-game trials, Ultimatum and Sanctum, although they're not called that anymore. You have all these layered systems. You have watchtowers that you can mod out. You can pick and choose on your atlas what you want to really focus on. There are, for an early access game to be this fleshed out and like this early in their early access, I mean, it hadn't even started yet, but I think you understand what I mean, is almost unheard of, right? So we have a half completed campaign. Great. Totally fine with that. But more importantly, the most important thing about ARPGs is the end game. That's where truly the game begins. That's where your character really starts to grow and really starts to shine. Right, we have 50-ish bosses, maybe plus. I can't remember what they said. Tons of bosses, tons of maps, tons of avenues for making currency and getting gear. And it's going to be really good for newer players because they're not, like, once they get done with the campaign, everyone's kind of used to just doing the same thing over and over again. Doing a nightmare dungeon, getting like whatever gear you get. This is probably not very much, looking for that one little mod that you need. PoE 1 is going to have so many layers, so many mechanics. At the start of its early access, I'm kind of blown away that there's this much content. I was fully expecting there to be not as much. And it's only going to get better from here. So you new players, going into D4 and Last Epoch, there's going to be a substantial amount more than what I think any of us ever expected there to be for an early access launch. So one more thing I wanted to talk about is the passive skill tree. The barrier of entry is considerably lower for this. And while it looks confusing, I assure you that it's not as confusing as you think it is. If you needed a respec in PoE 1, you needed Orders of Regret. Those were very rare in the campaign, so you couldn't really respec if you made a mistake. This skill tree is a lot more simplified. It has no life on it, whereas the previous skill tree in PoE 1 had life, res, damage. I mean, it had all sorts of stuff. This is much more streamlined, and you can respec with gold. This is humongous. This is probably the single biggest lowering of the barrier of entry for PoE 2 for brand new players. Just the ability to respec with gold, which you'll naturally be getting by playing the game. So you make a mistake, you just change your pathing, and you can do it whenever you want to, as long as you have the gold. This is massive, absolutely huge. You don't have to have a build guide. You can just play and learn at your own pace. Not only that, you can pick whatever attribute you want for your passives. So if you need a little bit more dex, just pick dex, and you can respec your attribute points at half price. Really incredible, right? In the PoE 1 skill tree, you had specific int, dex, strength nodes, and you had to path a certain way. This truly opens up the passive skill tree diversity that we've really been looking for in PoE 1, but haven't really got. And this essentially solves that issue for brand new players, where you can literally log in and just start going. And you can make mistakes, and it's considerably more forgiving, which I think is a good thing overall. The next thing that is going to be really nice for new players who won't really understand what it's like to make like a really insane piece of gear. There is so much that goes into crafting in PoE 1. It is extraordinarily daunting to be able to learn all the systems that you need to take advantage of in order to make a good piece of gear. And one of the really good things about PoE 2 is there's going to be a couple of more avenues for deterministic mods. And when I say that, I mean, like, if you want 30% increased critical strike, something like that can be guaranteed. Essences are back in the game, and you're going to be able to guarantee that essence mod, whatever the mod may be. Maybe attack speed, or maybe cast, I mean, who knows, but that mod can be guaranteed. And then there's another essence that will upgrade that piece of gear with that guaranteed mod to a rare with a guaranteed second mod. So you can now deterministically guarantee 2 mods out of 6, right? That's incredible. That is absolutely crazy. And it may not seem like a lot to brand new players, but as a veteran, like, seeing, like, from the outside looking in, it's massive. And this is one of the things that is going to be wonderful for new players, because it thus lowers the barrier of entry and the knowledge needed for new players to progress. This is huge. Essences are going to change the game for newer players. Now, I'm not a huge fan of some of these mods and then upgrading from a magic to a rare to be kind of gate-kept through essences, and it'll be a bit RNG on what you get. But the fact that it's now more deterministic, it's huge. And I think new players will appreciate that. And I think it'll be a lot easier for them to progress through the game with these new tools. The next item on the list, no more, at least for now, no more path to building. For those newer players, if you wanted to play POE, it was so not new player friendly. Chances are, very high chance, if you just started playing the game, going through the passive skill tree, all this stuff, your build would probably end up failing, because POE 1 is not, it can be extremely unforgiving. It is not easy to respec. It is not easy to recolor your gear. Just nothing is easy. And so me, as a content creator and a build maker, I use path of building to tell me everything that I need to know. And I can build out an entire build with a pre-planned out, passive skill tree. I have all my character stats. I have all my skills, all of my gear. You can make custom gear. You don't need this anymore. That's how low the barrier of entry is. You log in, pick your class, and you're off to the races. Everything else is explained in the game. Now, I think eventually there will be build guides, but I don't know what the future of POB is, and I think that's a good thing, because I have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of hours. I have like 7,000 hours in POE. I've probably spent 40% of that time just in path of building. So this is something that new players are going to love. And I am excited for y'all to not have to be beholden to this and beholden to the content creator for your enjoyment. This is a big thing. I'm very excited for you guys. Number 9 on our list, and in my opinion, one of the best, the melee improvements. POE 1 notoriously is not melee friendly. Melee is beholden to animation speed, and thus is beholden to attack speed. And for the build to quote unquote feel good, it needed a lot of attack speed. POE 2 solves this, one, through a WASD movement, and through dodge rolling through your animation. You have full control of your character while you're in your melee animation. You can change the direction that you're gonna hit mid-swing. This is huge. They're absolutely incredible for any melee lover in any RPG. This you're going to love this. New players, y'all do not have to experience the absolute nightmare that is melee in POE 1. You start out with the brand new systems. You guys are going to love this. It is one of the best changes that they've ever done for this game, and I think it's going to get absolutely rave reviews across the community. And so for those that have a little bit of prior experience with POE 1 and Melee, rest assured, from what I've seen and what other people have said, Melee's here to stay, and it's going to thrive. One of the things that I think new players are going to appreciate about POE 2, having no experience, is just the simple fact that every single one of us, save for, a handful of people who have been, invited to beta tests and stuff, all of us are going to be on the same playing field, right? I don't have, I'm a nobody, right? I don't have any clout. I don't have very many followers. I've never even played the game. I am going to be on the same playing field for the most part. Obviously, some of my knowledge will translate, but I'm going to be brand new to this just like y'all. And I think that's really nice that we're all going to finally be on somewhat of an even playing field. We're all going to be experiencing this brand new together, seeing things that none of us have seen, learning systems, revamp systems all together at the same time. And I really think that's going to be very, helpful for the new player. And there's going to be like a camaraderie. Hey, we're all going through this together, right? It's not like it is in POE 1 where you log on and everyone knows all this stuff and you don't know nothing. You don't know a single thing. What if you want to create some wacky build? Maybe somebody's already done it. I doubt that's going to be the case in PoE 2. There is a great opportunity. This is the only time you're going to be able to play Path of Exile 2 for the first time. You could, in the first 3 days, learn something brand new that nobody's ever seen yet. And I think that is an extremely positive thing for PoE 2 newcomers. And that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. For a message to any brand new players coming from D4, Last Epoch, or just brand new to the genre in general. Take your time. You don't have to have a build guide for PoE 2. Log in, start playing, start progressing, start learning, and just enjoy the game at your own pace. I'm quite sure that's what most everyone else is going to be doing. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be finding every single nook and cranny about this game, about the campaign, and I'll just be kind of going through it at my own pace and just enjoying the brand new experience that we're all experiencing together simultaneously. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have more videos coming soon before the launch of the early access. So if you enjoyed, please, if you feel so inclined, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Y'all be good. Please take care of yourselves.